Adapted from archaic translation by Robert Chalmers. Jataka number 53. Puṇṇapāti-Jātaka. What? Leave untasted. This story was told by the master while at Jetavana monastery, about some drugged liquor. Once upon a time the tipplers of Shravasti city met to take advice, saying, "We've not got the price of a drink left. How are we to get it?" Cheer up, said one ruffian. "I've a little plan." "What may that be?" cried the others. "It's Anathapindika's custom," said the fellow, "to wear his rings and richest attire, when going to wait upon the king. Let us manipulate some liquor with a stupefying drug and fit up a drinking booth, in which we will all be sitting when Anathapindika passes by. Come and join us, Lord High Treasurer, we'll cry, and fill him with our liquor till he loses his senses. Then let us relieve him of his rings and clothes, and get the price of a drink." His plan mightily pleased the other rogues, and was duly carried out. As Anathapindika was returning, they went out to meet him and invited him to come along with them. For they had got some rare liquor, and he must taste it before he went. "What," thought he, "shall a believer, who has found salvation, touch strong drink? However, though I have no craving for it, yet will I expose these rogues." So into their booth he went, where their talk soon explained him that their liquor was drugged. And he resolved to make the rascals take to their heels. So he roundly charged them with tampering their liquor with a view to drugging strangers first and robbing then afterwards. "You sit in the booth you have opened, and you praise up the liquor," said he. "But as for drinking it, not one of you ventures on that. If it is really undrugged, drink away at it yourselves." This summary exposure made the gang take to their heels, and Anathapindika went off home. Thinking he might as well tell the incident to the Buddha, he went to Jetavana monastery and told the story. "This time, layman," said the master, "it is you whom these rogues have tried to trick." So too in the past they tried to trick the good and wise of those days. So saying, at his hearer's request, he told this story of the past. Once upon a time when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was treasurer of that city. And then too did the same gang of tipplers, conspiring together in like manner, drug liquor, and go on to meet him in just the same way, and made just the same start. The treasurer did not want to drink at all, but in spite of that went with them, solely to expose them. Noticing their ways and detecting their scheme, he was anxious to scare them away and so said that it would be a bad thing for him to drink spirits just before going to the king's palace. "Sit you here," said he, "till I've seen the king and am on my way back. Then I'll think about it." On his return, the rascals called to him, but the treasurer, fixing his eye on the drugged bowls, confounded them by saying, "I like not your ways. Here stand the bowls as full now as when I left you. Loudly as you boast the praises of the liquor, yet not a drop passes your own lips. Why, if it had been good liquor, you'd have taken your own share as well. This liquor is drugged." And he repeated this stanza. What? Leave untasted drink you boast so rare? No. This is proof no honest liquor's there. After a life of good deeds, the Bodhisattva passed away to fare according to his deeds. His lesson ended, the master identified the birth by saying, "The rascals of today were also the rascals of those past days. And I myself was then treasurer of Benares." Source. Adapted from archaic translation by Robert Chalmers. Jataka number 54. Phala-Jātaka. When near a village. This was told by the master while at Jetavana monastery, about a lay disciple who was skilled in the knowledge of fruits. It appears that a certain official of Shravasti city had invited the brotherhood with the Buddha at their head, and had seated them in his garden, where they were fed with rice porridge and cakes. Afterwards he asked his gardener to go round with the brethren and give mangoes and other kinds of fruits to their reverences. In obedience to orders, the man walked about the grounds with the brethren, and could tell by a single glance up at the tree what fruit was green, what nearly ripe, and what quite ripe, and so on. And what he said was always found true. So the brethren came to the Buddha and mentioned how expert the gardener was, and how, while himself standing on the ground, he could accurately tell the condition of the hanging fruit. Brethren, said the master, this gardener is not the only one who has had knowledge of fruits. A like knowledge was shown by the wise and good of former days also. And so saying, he told this story of the past. Once upon a time when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born a merchant. When he grew up, and was trading with 500 wagons, he came one day to where the road led through a great forest. Halting at the outskirts, he mustered the caravan and addressed them thus. Poison trees grow in this forest. Take note that you taste no unfamiliar leaf, flower, or fruit without first consulting me. All promised to take every care. And the journey into the forest began. Now just within the forest border stands a village, and just outside that village grows a wat fruit tree. The wat fruit tree exactly resembles a mango alike in trunk, branch, leaf, flower, and fruit. And not only in outward resemblance, but also in taste and smell, the fruit, ripe or unripe, mimics the mango. If eaten, it is a deadly poison, and causes instant death. Now some greedy fellows, who went on ahead of the caravan, came to this tree and, taking it to be a mango, ate of its fruit. But others said, let us ask our leader before we eat. And they accordingly halted by the tree, fruit in hand, till he came up. Perceiving that it was no mango, he said, this mango is a wat fruit tree. Don't touch its fruit. Having stopped them from eating, the Bodhisattva turned his attention to those who had already eaten. First he dosed them with a vomiting agent, and then he gave them the 4 sweet foods to eat. So that in the end they recovered. Now on former occasions caravans had halted beneath this same tree, and had died from eating the poisonous fruit which they mistook for mangoes. On the next day the villagers would come, and seeing them lying there dead, would throw them by the heels into a secret place, departing with all the belongings of the caravan, wagons and all. And on the day 2 of our story these villagers failed not to hurry at daybreak to the tree for their expected spoils. The oxen must be ours, said some. And we'll have the wagons, said others. While others again claimed the wares as their share. But when they came breathless to the tree, there was the whole caravan alive and well. How came you to know this was not a mango tree? Demanded the disappointed villagers. We didn't know, said they of the caravan. It was our leader who knew. So the villagers came to the Bodhisattva and said, Man of wisdom, what did you do to find out this tree was not a mango? 2 things told me, replied the Bodhisattva, and he repeated this stanza. When near a village grows a tree, not hard to climb, it is plain to me. Nor need I further proof to know. No wholesome fruit on that can grow. And having taught the truth to the assembled people, he finished his journey in safety. Thus, brethren, said the master, in past days the wise and good were experts in fruit. His lesson ended, he explained the relation and identified the birth by saying, the Buddha's followers were then the people of the caravan, and I myself was the caravan leader. Jataka number 55. Pañcāvudha-Jātaka. When no attachment. This story was told by the master while at Jetavana monastery, about a brother who had given up all earnest effort. Said the master to him, is the report true, brother, that you are a backslider? Yes, Lord Buddha. In past days, brother, said the master, the wise and good won a throne by their resolute persistence in path in the hour of need. And so saying, he told this story of the past. Once upon a time when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, it was as his queen's child that the Bodhisattva came to life once more. On the day when he was to be named, the parents inquired as to their child's destiny from 800 Brahmins, to whom they gave their heart's desire in all pleasures of sense. Noticing the promise which he explained of a glorious destiny, these clever fortune-telling Brahmins foretold that, coming to the throne at the king's death, the child should be a mighty king gifted with every virtue. Famed and renowned for his exploits with 5 weapons, he should stand exceptional in all Jambadipa. And because of this prophecy of the Brahmins, the parents named their son Prince 5 Weapons. Now, when the prince was come to years of discretion, and was 16 years old, the king asked him to go away and study. With whom, sire, am I to study? Asked the prince. With the world-famed teacher in the town of Taxila in the Gandhara, near Afghanistan and Pakistan, including Kandahar country. Here is his fee, said the king, handing his son 1,000 pieces. So the prince went to Taxila and was taught there. When he was leaving, his master gave him a set of 5 weapons, armed with which, after asking farewell to his old master, the prince set out from Taxila for Benares. On his way he came to a forest haunted by an ogre named Hairy Grip. And, at the entrance to the forest, men who met him tried to stop him, saying, "Young Brahmin, do not go through that forest. It is the haunt of the ogre Hairy Grip, and he kills everyone he meets." But, bold as a lion, the self-reliant bodhisattva pressed on, till in the heart of the forest he came on the ogre. The monster made himself appear in stature as tall as a palm tree, with a head as big as an arbor and huge eyes like bowls, with 2 tusks like turnips and the beak of a hawk. His belly was blotched with purple, and the palms of his hands and the soles of his feet were blue-black. "Where you go?" cried the monster. "Halt! You are my prey." "Ogre," answered the bodhisattva, "I knew what I was doing when entering this forest. You will be ill-advised to come near me, for with a poisoned arrow I will kill you where you stand." And with this defiance, he fitted to his bow an arrow dipped in deadliest poison and shot it at the ogre. But it only stuck onto the monster's shaggy coat. Then he shot another and another, till 50 were spent, all of which merely stuck onto the ogre's shaggy coat. On this the ogre, shaking the arrows off so that they fell at his feet, came at the bodhisattva. And the latter, again shouting defiance, drew his sword and struck at the ogre. But, like the arrows, his sword, which was 33 inches long, merely stuck fast in the shaggy hair. Next the bodhisattva hurled his spear, and that stuck fast also. Seeing this, he hit the ogre with his club. But, like his other weapons, that too stuck fast. And upon that the bodhisattva shouted, "Ogre, you never heard yet of me, Prince 5 Weapons. When I ventured into this forest, I put my trust not in my bow and other weapons, but in myself. Now will I strike you a blow which shall crush you into dust." So saying, the bodhisattva hit the ogre with his right hand. But the hand stuck fast upon the hair. Then, in turn, with his left hand and with his right and left feet, he struck at the monster, but hand and feet alike stuck to the hide. Again shouting, "I will crush you into dust," he butted the ogre with his head, and that too stuck fast. Yet even when thus caught and snared in 5 times wise, the bodhisattva, as he hung upon the ogre, was still fearless, still undaunted. And the monster thought to himself, "This is a very lion among men, a hero without an equal, and no mere man. Though he is caught in the clutches of an ogre like me, yet not so much as a tremor will he exhibit. Never, since I first took to killing travelers upon this road, have I seen a man to equal him. How comes it that he is not frightened?" Not daring to devour the bodhisattva rudely, he said, "How is it, young Brahman, that you have no fear of death?" "Why should I?" answered the bodhisattva. "Each life must surely have its destined death. Moreover, within my body is a sword of adamant, which you will never digest, if you eat me. It will chop your inwards into mincemeat, and my death will involve yours too. Therefore it is that I have no fear. Opening parenthesis. By this, it is said, the Bodhisattva meant the sword of knowledge, which was within him. Closing parenthesis. On this, the ogre fell in thinking. This young Brahmin is speaking the truth and nothing but the truth, thought he. Not a morsel so big as a pea could I digest of such a hero. I'll let him go. And, so, in fear of his life, he let the Bodhisattva go free, saying, Young Brahmin, you are a lion among men. I will not eat you. Go on from my hand, even as the moon from the jaws of Rahu, and return to gladden the hearts of your family, your friends, and your country. As for myself, ogre, answered the Bodhisattva, I will go. As for you, it was your sins in past days that caused you to be reborn a voracious, murderous, flesh-eating ogre. And, if you continue in sin in this existence, you will go on from darkness to darkness. But, having seen me, you will be unable from then on to sin any more. Know that to destroy life is to ensure rebirth either in hell or as a brute or as a ghost or among the fallen spirits. Or, if the rebirth be into the world of men, then such sin cuts short the days of a man's life. In this and other ways the Bodhisattva showed the evil consequences of the 5 bad courses, and the blessing that benefits of the 5 good courses. And so brought in many ways upon that ogre's fears that by his teaching he converted the monster, imbuing him with self-denial and establishing him in the 5 commandments. Then making the ogre the fairy of that forest, with a right to levy dues, and charging him to remain devoted, the Bodhisattva went his way, making known the change in the ogre's mood as he issued from the forest. And in the end he came, armed with the 5 weapons, to the city of Benares, and presented himself before his parents. In later days, when king, he was a righteous ruler. And after a life spent in charity and other good works he passed away to fare thereafter according to his deeds. This lesson ended, the Master, as Buddha, recited this stanza. When no attachment hampers heart or mind. When righteousness is practiced peace to win. He who so walks, shall gain the victory. And all the chains utterly destroy. When he had thus led his teaching up to arhatship as its crowning point, the Master went on to preach the 4 truths, at the close of which that brother won arhatship. Also, the Master showed the relation, and identified the birth by saying, Angulimala was the ogre of those days, and I myself Prince 5 weapons.